All right. Let's see who pops on today. Give you guys a few minutes to roll in here. Instagram is going up. Right on. Okay. So, guys, it is Wednesday. Buyer, how you doing? Magical Chinks in the house. How you doing? Over at Instagram. If you are tuning in from Periscope or YouTube land, shoot me a comment. That's how I know you guys are there, as I'm using the interface from Restream. It's the only way that I know you're there. Feel free to ask questions. Noel May 9, right on. Well, thank you very much. And I'm happy to know that you've been checking it out. JM, good to see you, buddy. I was wondering where you were. All right. Well, everyone's pulling in. This is great. I hope everyone's doing well. It's been a crazy few days. You know, I was trying to figure out what I wanted to speak about today. And, you know, usually I tend to think about what the Art of Charm is doing podcast wise. So I want to do some critical thinking stuff from Vikram Mansharamani. But also, part of this is to discuss what's going on in the world and topical items. And I usually look at Twitter trending to see what's going on there. And so, and you can imagine, I don't know how many of you all look at Twitter trending. I'm on Twitter a lot. I find it interesting as a platform. Instagram, I don't enjoy very much. It's kind of I haven't figured out a personal use for it that adds to my life. Whereas, at least with Twitter, the silo that I run in is a lot of fun. Yeah, the Twitter silo that I run in is a lot of fun. And I get a lot of information. It's easy to keep up with the world. It's just, but let's not mince words here. I find it just as toxic as any other social media platform, if not managed properly. And sometimes I have to put it down and step away from Twitter just for my own sanity. But as you guys know, working in today's world, it's a necessity. It's a necessary evil. Let me say hello to a few more people. Lewis, it's good to see you, and Free Candy all the way tuning in from Austin. It's good to see you. There's a couple new folks today. Noel May says Twitter rabbit hole. Yeah, very infrequently. Yeah, I'm over there a lot. Anyway, so today I saw it. Who is that? Impactcient 92. Well, hello to you too. And Rudy Gomez, hello. Thank you for joining. And Eric John, welcome. All right. So today I'm going through Twitter, looking to see what am I going to discuss today? What would be fun? And here's my thing. So the first thing I see this morning is, what is it? Norwegian Parliament nominates Trump for Nobel Peace Prize. Now, if you follow me, you know that I find politics annoying, terrible, very hypocritical. The media that surrounds it, and insane. And we're in an election year, so everything's ramped up. And I find TDS, Trump derangement syndrome, is a real thing. Anyway, my point being, seeing that this morning just made me laugh, because there is a direct cause and effect to everything that happens in the political realm, especially when it comes to our commander-in-chief. I think a lot of that has to do with how he's portrayed in the media. It is ridiculously terrible. The guy, I'm one of those people who look at it this way. He's a human being. He has enough faults as it is. We don't need the media to blow up every little thing he does as a be-all, end-all to our humanity and existence in the world. It's obviously a bit overplayed, shall we say. But to see that trending this morning, it only makes me laugh because that has a direct effect to the people who are just utterly triggered by anything that is remotely good when it comes to Trump. And I am as covered in fault as the man is, as he is a human being, and we all have our faults. The way things are magnified when it comes to him is just so ridiculous. So I just seriously had to laugh about that. And when it comes to the peace brokering in the Middle East, I don't know how. Yes, JM says the Israeli UAE peace deal positions the rest of the Middle East to follow suit. In my opinion, well, yeah, it's quite incredible, isn't it? And if there is peace due to the work that he has done, let's give the man the Peace Prize. The triggering would be a show in and itself. I would have a week of laughs. And if you follow me on here, you know that I'm not partisan. So I try to look at all this stuff as objectively and detached as I possibly can and look at it fairly. But anyway, I just found it incredibly hilarious. And as we roll through the election, as an objective observer, I just see it's ridiculous, but I see his campaign coalescing where I see the other side's campaign unraveling in spectacular form. And I say that as just a detached observer. And here's the thing. If you don't have a message to rally around, then people assign one to you. And if you have many different factions of many different people assigning a message to you or determining what the message is for them, there is no unifying message. And say what you want about Trump and his campaign, at least the guy has a message that people rally around. Now, you could say the message is bullshit. You could say the message is fictitious. You could say the message is harmful. You could say that. And this is the thing with Twitter. If you spent any time in Twitter putting out ideas, because it's an idea format, you inevitably reach people who don't like your ideas. So here's what happens on Twitter. You're afraid to offend anyone or upset anyone, so you don't really put out any ideas because you are afraid of the backlash. Well, if you don't have a message, if you don't have an idea, well then people won't be compelled to follow you because your values are not pronounced, and it makes it difficult for people to rally around you. This happens, that very simple idea on Twitter also relates in real life. Whereas if you are afraid to state your ideas, to state your values, afraid to express yourself due to the fact that somebody will be offended, then it will be impossible for other people to rally around you, for other people to hear your message. So let me give you this example of self-expression and as a human being in order to connect with others, and as self-expression on social media so that you can find your audience. It works in this manner. Let's say that there is you're in the middle of a crowd, and that crowd is all looking around and it's looking for something to bring it together or to unite. Now, as a person, you have, in order for others to relate to you, to connect to you, they have to understand what it is that you stand for. And they need to see consistency between the language and ideas that you espouse and your actions. So you could think of it as a flagpole. And you would hoist your ideas, you hoist your expression of who you are and what's important to you on that flagpole, as high as that flag will go. And in that crowd, when you look at law of averages, there will be a certain percentage that are going to salute that flag, because the values and the ideas that are expressed in that flag are important to you. They resonate with you. It allows you to feel connected to somebody. But the point with social media, because you're dealing with the law of averages, you're able to communicate to large swaths of the public now, when in the past you were only privy to those people that you encountered. Well, there are going to be lots of people who also don't vibe with your values, who don't vibe with your ideas. And that's okay. They're going to need to hoist their own flag up and find their own people to connect with. And that should be totally okay. We're sort of in this place where if you don't like my ideas, well, then you must hate my ideas. Well, no, not really, not at all. I just vibe with these ideas better than these ideas. And we have to get comfortable with that. And it also doesn't mean that just because somebody doesn't have your ideas, doesn't mean that they're against yours. Like, if I just don't engage in content that I'm not interested in, or that I don't vibe with, or that I don't want to engage with. I also look for content that makes me think, that is thought-provoking, because it helps me get to a clearer picture of what's going on. To only be fed one line of bullshit puts me in a position to only understand one line of bullshit, one side of the situation. Free Candy says, I just can't watch the political show. It's too ridiculous and I can't be impartial anymore. It's gone too far. I would agree with you 100%. It has gotten out of control. And unfortunately, we still have a little over 2 months of it. I am hoping that it'll eventually taper out. You know, there's this idea that Trump is just too divisive for the other side to contend with. And I understand how you might feel that way. But here's the question that I have for those people who think in that manner. And the question is, well, if you pull him out and stick somebody else in that role, who's to say that they won't get the same amount of hate? And just because the conservative view of situation is different than the liberal view of it, and you should entertain both sides to get a clear picture of the problem and realize that for the most part, both parties agree what the problems are. They just both have different ways of how they want to handle it. And so if you stick somebody else in his role, are they going to get the same amount of hate? I don't know if in this period in time, with as polarized as everything is, and the way we're in this social media experiment, that any other figure would have more luck in being able to relate to both sides. I don't know if that's possible. And that idea that Trump is the divisive figure, I can understand how some might think that, but I also, from my understanding of a lot of the arguments, to me, it seems that anyone who just goes into that role is automatically going to be labeled the worst person on the planet. And it's happened to other figures who look at things in a conservative manner. And if that's the case, well then, how can we come to any sort of agreement if we already dehumanized, belittled, and assigned the worst character to the other side of the aisle? There is no possible way that would be able to look at things logically. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say about that. So, I'm also this person. If Trump's the commander-in-chief, I want him to be the best commander-in-chief. That's, if he's piloting the plane, I want him to be the best pilot ever. That's just common sense. All right. So, a couple other things that I wanted to discuss today. Gail Judo, I don't know if any of you guys follow her on Twitter. She is an Israeli judo master, and she is on Twitter a lot. She's pretty rad. She was talking today. She posted a tweet about DMing people and how, as a girl, as a woman, she gets a lot of DMs that just say, "Hi, what's up? How are you?" And I have news for Gail. As somebody else who is on social media regularly, I get those same messages. "Hi, what's up? What's going on?" And we've put together podcasts about this, and it is a networking issue. And once again, people afraid of stating their intention because of how they might be viewed. But you have to understand, the only way that you're going to be able to connect with the people that you need to connect with as a networker, you have to state what your intention is. Will you, being blunt, by stating your true intentions, drive some people away? Well, yes, absolutely. But you have to also understand that they weren't people who were interested in your intention in the first place. So if you are going to DM people, if you are going to message them, state who you are, what it is that you're writing about, and what you propose. State your intention. The worst thing that's going to happen is that they're going to write back and say that they're not interested. More than likely, you're just not going to get an answer. You are going to move on. They are going to move on. And this is why I see such a polarization politically. This is the thing where I just brought up Trump, is he's very straightforward in his intentions and what he wants to do. Does that repel some people? Well, of Of course it does. Does he care? No, he's a businessman. He's rolling forward. And so for Gail and her tweet, I get the same messages. Hi, what's up? Like your content. Great. Awesome. And this is the thing about social media and creating an audience for yourself, or at least connecting with other creators so you can build a community where you all help each other. Because that's the best thing about social media, is the good parts are building a community with other people to help amplify your message so that you are able to connect with more people. Once again, this comes back to the analogy of the flag and the flagpole. Being able to have other voices to help amplify your message so that other people who connect with that message are able to hear it and able to see it and able to connect with you so that they can learn, so that they can grow, so they can help amplify your message. And one of the things that you learn through social media, and this was interesting with Twitter. Twitter is such a simple example of this, is that in order for your message to connect with others, it has to come from a place of authority, where you mention, this is how things are. This is my message. If your message is weakened in any manner by softening what your intentions are, then it also weakens your message. And if your message is weakened, the signal is weakened. And if the signal is weakened, people cannot connect to it. So they will move on until they find the message that is strong enough for them to find some connection with, to engage with it, because they identify with it. And so if you're going to write to other creators to connect with them, you want to give them a compliment, let them know that you dig their work, and then show them what your intention is. And even if there is no intention other than letting them know that you enjoy their work, and this is why I think a lot of people write us, because they enjoy the podcast, they enjoy the work. Let us know. I see this even as a musician. I will get off stage after playing a show, and a couple people will come up to me and tell me how much they enjoyed the show, how much they enjoyed my performance, the band's performance, and they wanted to let me know. But do you know how many people in that audience would like to say that, who would like to come up and state how they felt about it and never do? It's why I make it a point, if I go to see somebody perform, or I'm supporting friends who are performing, that when they're alone, when I have the opportunity, when they're not scrambling to grab their gear and bring it off stage, it's that I let them know that I appreciated that performance, because it goes a long way. Do you understand the amount of work it takes just for that band or person to lug their gear, to book the show, to perform, to hope people come out, to promote it, publicity, to talk to their friends until they're blue in the face about coming out, and then to have that opportunity to perform, only to have no one show any appreciation? So all content creators enjoy hearing that you appreciate their stuff. And I know with the other creators, especially in Twitter, that I have community with, it goes a long way to let them know when we find a tweet that they've written that was powerful, or an idea that they've sent out as something that that connected with you, to let them know about it. Because the amount of work that goes into what I'm doing right now, or creating content, especially for a lot of people, the work that they do on Instagram, it's a disposable platform where hours of work goes by in a matter of seconds. Now, what's beautiful is when that hours of work land on somebody and they learn something, or that message hits them or changes their life, or they just have a moment where they think about and appreciate the position that they're in life and that you gave them that opportunity. But for all those hours of work, the amount of people who just flip through it is staggering. So to be able to get a message from somebody, not only are you making that Creator's Day, but know that it will allow you to feel good, to know that you have been able to give value to the people that you care most about. All right, guys, I got to head out. I got a million things to do today, and you guys are super rad. If you enjoy what I had to talk about today and want to learn more about networking and connection and rapport building, check out the Art of Charm Communication Accelerator. It's in the link tree. It has all of our best bits from our live training programs, online classes, and expert guests over the last 15 years. It's super awesome. Check it out. Free Candy says, connect, be bold, not boring, and put it out there. Absolutely. Rudy, thank you very much. Noel May over in YouTube says, thanks for the great topics. Well, thank you for tuning in today. And my beautiful love over in Periscope land says hello. And I guess you got a point there. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for tuning in. JM, I'm not saying that. You're trying to get me in trouble. I got enough problems. All right. All right, guys, I got to go. I got to head out. Have a great Wednesday. I'll see you tomorrow.